Hi, my name is Candace. I'm the founder of Sufficient Grace Social Services, where our mission is to create awareness for the prevention of child molestation, child sexual abuse, and child neglect, help children to gain confidence and to find their voice, and also to help find healing from past sexual abuse and other childhood traumas through Christ. Today, I wanted to continue our conversation about my book. My book of becoming me. I explained a little bit in my last video about how I wrote this book about 5 years ago, about I guess 2017, and when I had written it, I put it down and I was gonna just forget about it because it was really a journal that I had been writing and trying to get all my emotions out and make trying to understand things that had happened to me in my life. And so, and I said a little bit about it last week about how God put it on my heart to make it into a book, and I published it through Amazon. And it's been on sale for, I guess, since 2019 or maybe 2020. And I really haven't really promoted it or anything. It's because of the shame that I felt about it. And yeah, I'm to the point now where I am trying to get over the shame. Because, like I said, my mission in life is to create awareness for the prevention of child molestation and child sexual abuse and child neglect. And I feel like in my life I've had a lot of all of that. And so, um, with that, if you know anybody that has gone through child abuse and child neglect, it comes with a lot of shame. It comes with a lot of hurt. And it's things that, without really doing some soul searching and doing some counseling and reading your Bible and just a lot of work, it you can't get over. And so I have been doing the hard work for these past 5 years, and I have to say that I'm not done. I'm 39, and I've only been really focusing on doing the hard work since I was 34, 33, 34. And so, from 0 to 34, I was going through this trauma and reliving this trauma every day in my mind as an adult. And, you know, it's only been 5 years. So I don't think that I have, I give myself grace, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because I know that it took this long for everything to happen. It's not going to change overnight. My feelings about myself, all the hurt that I feel, all the shame that I feel, is not going to go away overnight. But taking the steps and doing the work that is needed I feel a little bit better every day. And so that's why I want to help out anybody that I can that is going through child abuse or child neglect or has gone through it as a child, because I've been through it and I know how it feels, and I know the work that it takes to feel better about yourself, to get over these things without having a chip on your shoulder for the rest of your life. Because I was going through life with a huge, huge chip on my shoulder. And so today I wanted to talk about, and this book is it's not that thick, but there's like, let me see how many chapters I have. Okay, I have 10 chapters, but then I have some things that I talk about after those chapters. And so, yeah, I'm just going to go through chapter 1. Because last week I did the letter from November 2nd, 2019, and then the preface. And then later on, I was thinking, is it preface or is it, wait, preference? I have no clue. Like I said, I'm not really good at things like that. But we're just going to move right along to chapter one. So, chapter one in the book is called, I can get it in there, The Beginning. And so, I'm just going to read it and then I'm going to talk about it afterwards. For me to start this, I must start from the beginning, at least as far back as I can remember. I have to say that these are my memories the way that I remember them. They are things that shaped me into the person that I am today. I don't choose to talk about my past too often, or, oh, wait, no. I don't choose to talk about my past to offend, I'm about to say that's not often, to offend or hurt anyone. I only want to write as a way to help overcome some of the hurt of my past by hopefully helping someone going through something similar. Or maybe for someone to avoid some of the things that I've gone through by using my story as a cautionary tale. Okay, so as far back as I can remember, my dad would read the Bible to my brother, sister, and I at the dinner table every night. He read to us up until I was a teenager and my parents got divorced. When I was really young, my dad taught us the Lord's Prayer, and we would say it every night before we went to sleep. Scriptures at dinner time and prayer before bed. That was about as far as I knew about God when I was a young child. But one day when I was about 4 or 5, I had started having bad dreams. I would wake up every night and I was also afraid to go to sleep at night. I cried out to my parents and my dad asked me if I had prayed and asked God to take my bad dreams away. At the time, I had never even known that anything like about anything like that, but I tried it and it worked. At the time, I did not think much of it, but as I look back now, I realized that God was with me even back then when I was a young child, and He was shaping me into the woman that I am today, even back then. Oh, wow. That's nice. I'm silly. You have to excuse me. When I was young, although I felt that my parents cared for each other, I could not understand why they were together because they did not get along at all. Oh, Lord Jesus, no, they did not. They had a very volatile relationship. It seemed like every time they talked, it turned into an argument. When I was young and they would argue and sometimes get into physical fights, I would always try to get in the middle so that they could not hurt each other. I would rather them take their anger out on me instead of each other. I have to pause right there because that that was something in my life that made me, for one thing, never want to argue or fight in front of my kids. I made that decision when I was young. I was young. I never wanted to let my kids see me in that situation, and I never wanted them to see me hurting somebody or fighting somebody or arguing with somebody because as a child, that is scary. Like, I can't even express how afraid I was. And I'm talking 2, 3 years old, remembering seeing my parents like fist fighting and throwing each other around in our front. room, in our living room, and it's like thinking that one of them was going to get killed, and that was scary. It was so scary. And I felt so helpless and I'm the type of person, even as a young child, I wanted to fix everything. I didn't want to see anybody hurting. I didn't want to see anybody in pain. And so I, my only thing I could think of doing was getting in the middle of them, trying to stop them, trying to put myself in their place so that they wouldn't hurt each other, not knowing that you're a baby and you're going to get hurt yourself. But I would rather them hurt me. It it hurt me more to see my parents hurting each other than for me to get hurt. And I told myself when I was young, because I always wanted 10 kids. If anybody knows me or watch any of my videos, I always wanted 10 kids. And I said, oh, I would never put my kids through that. I would never have them see me getting hurt like that, because that pain is almost unbearable. All right, so I'm going to get myself together. Okay, so um, I got myself together, but I got to figure out where I was. And so, um, all right, so as far back as I can remember, they fought and argued. I could not even tell you what they were arguing about most of the time, but I do remember always thinking that my mom wanted her freedom from us and from her responsibilities as a wife and a mother. I just wanted to say that my mom passed away when I was 16 years old. So I remember things about her only in situations and things that really stand out in my mind. I truly love and miss my mom, and I know that she loved me and my siblings very much. I also know that she did her best in raising us with the knowledge and the experiences that she had from her very hard upbringing. She was a very young wife and mother, and I know in my heart that she did her very best, the very best she knew how to do. As I mentioned before, this is my story, and I have to tell things the way I remember them, whether some people think that is right or not. As people, we can each share experiences, and we still can come out of the experiences with different perspectives. And let me just pause for a second. I put that in there because, you know, um, I have a lot of people in my family, and even like my sister and my brother or my dad, and I will say things that I remember from my childhood, and they'll say, oh, I don't remember it like that. No, this is how it happened. And I have to explain to people, wait a minute. I am a human being. I'm a person. I have experiences, and this is true for anybody. We can all be in the same place experiencing the same thing at the same exact time and get a different interpretation out of that same experience. You know, we might be at a concert, say for instance, a Prince concert. I know Prince is gone, but all right, I love Prince. And somebody is there because they love the music. Somebody is there because they love the lyrics, in his music. Someone is there because they love his fashion, and it's like you what appeals to you or what stands out to you comes from your experiences and your personal experiences and your personality. And so, a lot of things that happen in my life, they happened to me and I took it a certain way because of my personal experiences. And the same thing could have happened to somebody else, like being molested. My aunt was telling me about, oh, well, my uncle used to molest me when I was a kid, and it was no big deal to me. Well, it didn't affect you like it affected me, you know. What what can I say to that? We're two different people, and it's like I can't just brush it off. I can't just brush being molested off because for one thing, it really hurt me, and and hearing it happen to my children in my family, that hurts me too. I'm not going to just say, oh, well, it happened to me. It happens to everybody. No, it has to stop. It has to stop somewhere. You know, it wasn't okay when it happened to you. And it wasn't okay when it happened to me. And it wasn't okay when it happened to my kids. So I'm not just going to just be like, okay, I had this experience. I'm just going to get over it because you had the same experience and you just got over it. That's not how things work. We're all different people and we all can have the same experience and different outcomes for those experiences. So let me move on. And so she was, oh, I read that part. All right. As I already read that part. Okay. It does not make me right and you wrong or vice versa. It is just our perspective. In my opinion, my mom seemed to always want to have her freedom. To me, she was like a caged bird that wanted to be free. I always thought that my parents spent a lot of time arguing because of that fact. My mom and dad got married on my mom's 18th birthday, and my dad was 6 years older than my mom. I think that she married him to get away from something, maybe to start a new life and create a stable family that she did not have growing up. But maybe she realized somewhere along time that it was not so easy to just wish and hope for things to change. And one thing I know about my mom, she had a traumatic upbringing. I mean, yeah, she did. Her mom left her when she was about 13 to be raised by her dad. And my grandma had nothing to do with her anymore. And so until after I was born, if I might be mistaken about that, but it was a good long time that my mom did not have her mom in her life. And even though her mom was still living, her mother wanted nothing to do with her. And that does something to a child. It really does. And so I can understand my mom had issues. And she went to therapy. I remember when I was young, about 8 to 10, we actually had family therapy. Well, my mom and dad went, but I think it was just my mom's personal therapy. I'm not sure. But I remember she went to therapy for a while, but it wasn't a long time. And I don't think she really got over the things that she had went through in her childhood. And it affected her as a mom. So, maybe she never got to realize what I have recently learned, that change happens in the mind. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. You can try to run from your problems, but if you don't face them, they will follow you no matter where you go. I think that my mom married my dad as a protest to the hard life that she had led up to that point. I remember my mom saying that her father did not want her to marry my dad. So she went and did it anyway. In my opinion, I feel like by the time I was born, she had truly regretted her decision to marry my dad and have a family. Now, that is something I really, truly believe. I think she was miserable. Besides the fact that their relationship was very tumultuous, I'm sure that my mom felt that she had never had a chance to experience all that life had to offer her. So by the time I was about 7 or 8, maybe even younger, it seemed that my mom really checked out mentally as a mother. It was definitely younger. It was definitely younger. She still provided for us, and I think that she loved us, but the care was not really there. I really think that she felt like she was done raising children and it was time for her to live her life. I was really young when I had the feeling that when I wanted to be near my mom, I was bothering her. At least she made me feel that way. My mom worked and attended school to get her nursing degree for many years of my childhood. She went to school part time and worked full time at different restaurants and stores at first, but by the time I was in first grade, she got a job at our elementary school while still attending school part time. She worked at our grammar school as a teacher's assistant in the preschool program. My mom lived a very full life. She had friends and family that she hung out with quite often. I just remember wanting and needing my mom's attention and her loving care, but it always seemed like she withheld it from me. Man, just a little pause. Um, that is why I chase people for attention now. I literally chase people for attention. And when I feel like I don't get the attention that I deserve, I used to turn it on me, like it was something wrong with me. And I realize now it was because of the attention that I wanted from my mom and feeling like because she didn't give it to me, it was something wrong with me. Wow. Okay. Yeah. And I know now it was not me. I hate to say it was her. It was not my problem. It was her problem. Because, for one thing, I was a child. And it wasn't my responsibility to make her love me. As a child of God, our love is given freely. God loves us freely. He loves us whole and fully and freely. And that's how parents love their children. And that's how parents should make their children feel secure and loved. And when they don't, that's not the child's fault. It's really not the child's fault. Okay, so I really don't know if it was intentional or not. I just know that I needed her and always felt like she was too busy for me. There always seemed to be distance between us, even if we were in the same room next to each other. It was like we spoke two different languages. It was not the mom, not that my mom was never home, but when she was there, my siblings and I were always bothering her or in her way. Although that did not stop us from trying to be around her. We was always bothering her. Even though she made it clear that she wanted us to go away. My mom always told me that I looked more like my dad. And I wonder if that was maybe part of the reason why she did not like me too much. I always felt like my mom didn't like me. Sad. I'm not going to cry again because I don't want to get myself together. But yeah, I did. I knew that deep down my mom loved me and she did things like cook dinner for us and provide financially the best that she could. Although she took care of us, I never felt like she liked me. I always thought that besides that fact that I looked like my dad, the other reason that she did not like me was because I was a major crybaby. To this day, I'm still a crybaby. And that was the next line. To this day, I still cry at the drop of a dime. I have to say thanks to the Lord because He has been working on me, getting my emotions under control. And although I know it's not quite, I mean, a quick, no, it's not a quick change, I know He is working on me one day at a time. Looking back, I can clearly remember a reason why I felt like my mother did not like me. It was because she used to always tell me that she hated the fact that I was born in her birth month. And yes, that's true. My birthday is June 1st and hers is June 15th. She told me once that she begged the doctor to deliver me early so that I would not be born in her birth month. She hated it so much that for many years, none of my extended family members did not even knew, I need to change that, when my birthday was. I never had birthday parties in my birth month when we were very young. No, I did not. My mom would have one big party with family for my siblings and I in the summertime around my brother's birthday, which is in July, which is just a month later. For a while, and I thought it was nice though, actually. For a while, I just thought that that's how it was supposed to be. As I got older, my mom's side of the family would get together in June and have a party for all the June birthdays. And I need to put I would go. Oh, and would go, but I would go, but my birthday was not celebrated. Okay, so I need to change that. All right, so I am finding things I need to change. All right, so yeah, that's true. And I talk about this all the time. Oh my gosh, there's so many June birthdays in my family, and I would go to the party, but nobody ever knew. It was like my birthday was not part of it, and no one knew my birthday was in June, and it was really strange because even as an adult, my aunt was like, I have no clue when your birthday is, Candace. I know when your sister's birthday is, I know when your brother's birthday is, but I have no clue when your birthday is. And I can laugh about it now. But I'm like, that's the reason why I started celebrating my birthday all month long because nobody ever knew. Like, they would come around and say, "Oh, Michelle or David, it's your birthday." I'm like, "Yeah, it was just my birthday." "Oh, it was? Oh, well, it passed already, right?" "Oh, okay." And that's what I would get. Yeah. And so I started saying, "Oh, well, it's my birthday today." It's my birthday too. It's like, why? I am a human being. I am here on earth. I am living. Everybody alive right now has a birthday. It never occurred to anybody to like figure out when my birthday was. It's like, hey, when's Candace's birthday? Crickets. Nobody ever asked. Nobody ever cared. And so, let me go back. My birthday would never be celebrated. One time I asked my mom how come no one mentioned me at the June parties because they would name everybody whose birthday was in June, and it was a lot of people. And she told me something like, it's a family party, or the party was just for family. That's how I felt at the time. Like, am I not family? Am I not your child? I'm here at the party. The party is for June birthdays. My birthday's in June. It boggled my mind. And to this day, as you can see, it still boggles my mind. In more recent years, my aunt told me, and this is the story about how she never knew my birthday. So I'm gonna just skip that. But when she told me, it reminded me of what my mom had told me all those years ago, that she didn't want my birthday to be in June because it was her month. Even though she shared June birthdays with a good portion of her family. Anyway, don't get me wrong. I love my mom and I looked up to her. She was so beautiful, so feminine, and so smart. Oh, my mom was so smart. She reminded me of the character Claire Huxtable in her demeanor and style. She really did. My mom, she was very beautiful, and just the way she dressed, I always wanted to be like her. She's the reason why I wanted to wear contacts, because my mom always wore contacts. She always had nice sunglasses. She always had pretty earrings. She always had her hair done. She just looked pretty all the time. And it was like, man, I want to be like her when I grow up. I want to be pretty all the time. And I mean, what can I say? I just I know I'm pretty, but whatever. Anyway, so she always dressed well, so well, and she had so much poise. People used to think that we were sisters because she looked so young. Yeah, my mom was very, but then again, a lot of my family look, they just look young. I don't know what it is. And now it's the same thing with my daughter. People think we're siblings because I look young, and she is young, so whatever. I sometimes imagine how my mom would be with all of her grandchildren. I was just talking to my niece about this yesterday. I'm like, my mom, she would be, whoo, because 5 years ago they was a mess, but now my nieces and my daughter, my nieces and nephew. Well, I have two nephews, and my children are a hot mess. They are the most spoiled kids. But let me not say that. They're the best children. They are. They, even the adult ones. They are wonderful kids. Um, Sometimes I laugh because I know that she would be giving them the Claire Huxtable stare because of all the things that they do, and she would make that face. My dad is so sweet with his grandchildren. He still is. He is so nice and understanding. It makes me wonder where that man was when we were growing up. My dad was a very strict disciplinarian, an uncompromising, hard as nails about everything that he thought was right. Sometimes I look at him now with his grandkids and think, where was he when I was getting whoopings with paddles, belts, and extension cords? Abuse. My dad just told me recently that when you are a parent, you have to train up your kids right. But as grandparents, you get to have fun and let the parents do all of the hard work. I think that is a true blessing from God to be a grandparent and get to enjoy your grandkids. Growing up, my mom worked and my dad refused to watch us because he did not want my mom to work, which was another problem they had. As my mom worked and went to school, my dad was not home a lot because of his work as a drywaller. For many years, he left the house early in the morning and came home in the evening around 6 or 7. But even when my dad was home, he refused to watch us. When I was very young, as I had previously mentioned, my mom worked various minimum wage jobs, and we would go to different family members' homes or to my mom's friends' houses when she had to work. I was checking the time. And we were not, when she had to work and we were not in school. Being that my mom's schedule varied, we would go to different people's homes on different days during the week and on Saturdays. But on Sundays, we would go to my aunt's house. Even after my mom started working as a teacher's assistant, we would still go to our aunt's home on Sundays for many, many years. My mom would just drop us off over there. Sometimes she stayed and hung out with us, but most of the time she would leave after a while and pick us up later. Growing up, we did not attend church, so we were there all day every Sunday. When we were there, we pretty much had unsupervised time to do whatever we wanted. That was one of the main reasons why I felt that I was molested there. And so that is chapter one. It was kind of long. Um, and now I just want to have some remarks. I know I was talking the whole time during chapter one, but something I would say to a client if they had just told me that story about the neglect and feeling unloved as a child. First of all, I would want to say that it was not your fault that your parents treated you the way that they did. That was their shortcomings. And we all have them. We all have issues. And I was thinking while I was reading that I need to do a better job at showing my children that I love them and appreciate them, because I would hate for them to feel like I felt, how I felt that my mom didn't love me. And I know sometimes I'm hard on my kids, and I was just thinking earlier today that I'm not a big hugger. I don't like people touching me because of the molestation that I've been through, and it's hard for me to be touched. It's like it's too much. I don't like it. The thought of it just okay. So, but children need that. Children need hugs. Children need that. And then another reason why I don't like the hug is because in my mind, I feel like hugging is inappropriate, because that was one of the things that happened when I would get molested. Like, I would get hugs and come sit over here on my lap, and and it's like when I see stuff like that, all I see is red flags, red flags, red flags. And I don't want my children to think that that's okay. And so I'm not a big person that expresses a lot of emotion. I mean, I say things. I say, well, and I don't really say I love you too much either. But, I have issues. I have issues. But I'm trying, and I never want my children to think that I'm not trying. But I would say to the client that just told me this story is that it's not your fault. It's not your fault you went through it, but you can take steps to change now. And above everything, you have to forgive. You have to forgive your parents, and you have to let it go. And it's not for them, it's for you. And so those are the things, because I don't want this video to be too long. So that was my takeaway from chapter one. And I want to say, like I always say, if you are a child, or if you know of a child that is experiencing child molestation or child sexual abuse or child neglect, I urge you to please call your local law enforcement agency, 911, or 1-800-4-CHILD, which is the National Child Abuse Hotline. I will be leaving numbers for different child abuse places in the description box below. And if you are an adult who has been through child molestation, child sexual abuse, or any type of child abuse or neglect as a child, and you growing up with that hurt and pain, I urge you to please talk to someone about it. Get it out so that you can begin the process of healing. Because if you keep it inside, it's hurting you. It's not hurting anybody else. It's hurting you. It causes sickness and it causes disease to keep in secrets and to keep in hurt and to keep in hatred. And so I ask you to start talking to somebody. Find somebody that you can trust and talk to them about it. And so that you can get it out, so that you can begin the process of healing. And with that, I thank you all for joining me for this little story time. And like I said, I will be doing every chapter, but maybe in between, I will be doing different things, different videos in between the chapters. I haven't decided yet. But I thank you for joining me today. And as always, be blessed.